Most people fail not because problems are too complex, but because they approach them the wrong way. They rush. They panic. They try to force solutions before understanding the structure of the problem itself. But what if the greatest minds in history didn't solve problems by pushing harder, but by thinking differently? Centuries before modern psychology, productivity systems, or scientific frameworks existed, one mind had already mastered the art of problem solving. Avicenna, a man who lived over 1,000 years ago, yet solved medical, philosophical, and logical problems that entire generations failed to understand. His secret was not intelligence alone. It was method. Avicenna believed that most problems are not difficult. They are simply disorganized, and once order is introduced, clarity follows. In this video, we are not exploring what Avicenna knew, but how he thought when faced with the impossible. Because the way he solved problems may change how you approach your own. Avicenna observed something that still applies today. When people encounter a difficult problem, they tend to do three things. First, they try to solve everything at once. Second, they emotionally attach themselves to the outcome. Third, they confuse effort with progress. Avicenna rejected all three. To him, forcing the mind was not strength. It was sabotage. He believed that confusion is not a lack of intelligence. It is a lack of structure. Instead of asking, "How do I solve this?" Avicenna asked a different question. What exactly am I looking at? Before searching for answers, he sought definitions. Before action, understanding. Before speed, clarity. This single shift allowed him to see what others missed, not because he knew more, but because he saw better. Avicenna never attacked a problem head-on. He dismantled it. When faced with a complex issue, whether in medicine, philosophy, or logic, he divided it into its smallest possible components, not fragments. Foundations. Each part was examined independently, without pressure to reach a conclusion. He believed that when the mind is overwhelmed, it loses its ability to reason. So, instead of wrestling the entire problem, he isolated its elements. This method transformed complexity into simplicity. What others saw as chaos, Avicenna saw as layers. And once each layer was understood, the whole revealed itself naturally. This is why his solutions appeared effortless, not because they were easy, but because they were organized. One of Avicenna's most unusual techniques was knowing when to stop thinking. When a problem resisted solution, he did not push harder. He stopped. He rested. He walked. He prayed. He allowed the mind to reset. Avicenna believed that insight does not emerge from exhaustion. It emerges from clarity. He trusted that the mind continues working even when conscious effort pauses. Many of his breakthroughs came not during intense focus, but after stepping away entirely. To him, stopping was not failure. It was strategy. In a world that glorifies constant effort, Avicenna understood something rare. The mind solves best when it is not under attack. Avicenna never searched for isolated answers. He searched for systems. He believed that a true solution must fit into a larger framework of understanding. If an answer contradicted logic, experience, or observation, it was rejected, no matter how appealing it seemed. This is why his work remained relevant for centuries. His ideas were not reactions, they were structures. By thinking in systems, Avicenna ensured that each solution strengthened the whole. This approach allowed him to solve problems that others could not even define. He didn't chase conclusions. He built frameworks where conclusions became inevitable. Modern science now confirms what Avicenna practiced intuitively: breaking problems into parts, avoiding mental overload, allowing rest for insight, thinking in systems rather than isolated facts. These principles form the foundation of modern problem solving, from engineering to psychology. Yet Avicenna mastered them 1,000 years ago. His advantage was not technology, it was discipline. He trained his mind to serve clarity, not ego. And that is why his solutions endured long after his era faded. Avicenna teaches us that great problem solvers are not those who think harder, but those who think with order. They pause when others panic. They structure when others rush. They seek clarity before action. In a world overwhelmed by information, his method is more relevant than ever. Because the greatest problems are not solved by force, they are solved by minds that know when to slow down. This is how Avicenna solved problems no one else could. And this way of thinking is timeless. Welcome back to Inside Avicenna's Mind.